Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Lose, Live, Learn. Thank you for joining me again. Today, we are going to be talking about plus size, a label which I guess is supposed to define me, but I'm kind of tired of it. I'm kind of tired of being labeled as plus size, labeling myself as plus size, and I'm going to explain to you why.
You're watching Lose, Live, Learn, the show which brings you real-life strategies to help you live your healthiest life, free from guilt, shame, and dieting. I'm your host, Melanie Knights.
So a few weeks ago, I was watching some TED Talks and I came across one by Ashley Graham. Ashley Graham, if you do not know her, I will put a picture of her right here. Ashley Graham is a plus size model, right? And the TEDx talk, she was talking about body positivity and about how she sees her body in, all its beautiful gloriousness. Because I mean, this girl, damn, she's hot, right? But she was talking about her body, and she's talking about body positivity and body image. And she shares a story about how she was approached to be a model. And she was approached at a very young age. And as she got older, she was being only used for plus size modeling. And she talks about a scenario in which somebody would ask her, like, what do you do for a living? And she will say, I'm a model. And they'd kind of get that look, and they'd kind of go like this, as if to say that, like, their face is going, you? Really? And she would go, oh, well, I'm a plus size model. As if, like, she had to defend her job role. And then it was like, oh, I see. Right? Like, I'm sure you get this, right? I'm sure you understand, like, how she felt. And one of the things that I have found myself saying about myself, I found myself saying about myself over the last couple of years is that I am a plus size trainer. And yet I find instances where I feel like in my core, like I am being potentially judged, or someone is looking at me going, who is she? What does she do? When I'm at the gym, for example. And that pisses me off, right? I've shared that before. I've had people ask me if I'm the secretary for the gym, and in an instant all this flood of emotions and insecurities run through my head, as if to say, why do you think that? Is it because I'm a woman? Is it because I'm not, like, super shredded? Like, what is it about me? Or is it just because that's, like, you don't know, you don't know what they're thinking, but in a moment, in an instant, you've got all these insecurities running through your head. And I realized after that happened that part of this is my fault. I am to blame if I continue to label myself as a plus size trainer, as a plus size coach. Because when I label myself as a plus size trainer, a plus size coach, a plus size human, I am saying that I don't fit in with all of you guys. I'm over here in my own little box. I'm like, yeah, clothing stores tell me that I don't fit in, so I'm over here. And now I'm agreeing with you, and I'm taking myself out of this, like, world of apparently normal size, and I'm putting myself over here. And I'm basically giving you permission to continue to see me differently. So the more I label myself as plus size, I am giving other people permission to take me out of what I guess is normal size and putting me over here. I'm allowing people to label me when I don't like it because I'm doing it myself. And this was like a moment. I was like, yeah, I'm doing that. I label myself as a plus size trainer, then I'm basically saying I'm not the same as my non-plus size counterparts. If I walk around with this label like flashing above my head as neon light saying plus size, I'm saying that I'm not as good as the person that's not plus size, and you know what, I'm damn good. So it was this realization that I have to remove the words plus size from my vocabulary. Where I shop in department stores, that really doesn't make a difference. If I have to shop in stores which label themselves as plus size or whatever it is, cool, right? That doesn't make a difference. But I don't need to label myself in that way. You know what? Because my clothing, it's clothing. It doesn't matter what size it is. And the more I separate myself from society, from fellow coaches, from other people who are doing the same work as me, the more I give permission to people to separate me. The more I give permission for people and companies to say that you don't belong. And I'm just not doing it anymore. I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on the label plus size, because I wrote a blog beginning of this year and I asked the question, is plus size a mindset or a mind fuck? And I talk about the fact that as a kid, I watched my mum shop for clothing. And at the time when I was younger, like here in the UK, you did not have cute clothing if you were above a size 16. Like, I could not fit into normal clothes in department stores. Like, I remember back to school shopping was just like the biggest pain in the ass, because I couldn't fit into kids clothing, so therefore my clothing cost more money. So I was wearing adult clothing, and then the trousers were always way too long, because I'm only 5'3" and I was pretty short back then as well. So I was having to have trousers taken up, and that was like a whole hassle. And it just, what I remember about being a kid and a teen and back to school shopping is I just remember feeling like I'm so out of place. I remember thinking, no one carries clothes that are right for me. I do not belong anywhere, because I didn't belong in the adult section, but I didn't belong in my peers section. I felt like I just didn't have a place to belong. And that sucked. That sucked. And I don't think that changed now. I don't think that's changed for young girls now. If anything, it's probably worse, because we're so bothered about what we look like. But it sucked. And for me, growing up, looking at what was available back then, if you were above a size 16, it was dowdy and unflattering. And it just, now we have so much more choice, and that is awesome. We still don't have as much choice, but we do have more choice. And that I'm very grateful for. That I am incredibly grateful for. I'm grateful for brands like Girl Clothing, American Eagle, who do their Aerie brand. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm grateful for Lane Bryant, for ASOS Curve, for Forever 21 Plus. I may not like how they label it, but I am grateful for them. Simply Be, I'm grateful, but you guys need to sort your shit out, because if you go to their underwear section, your models are like size 6, and like that just, it's like, if I'm searching for an underwear in my size, I want to see models who are my size. That's something that I feel very passionate about. So yeah, they need to sort this out. But anyway, but I'm still very aware of the fact that being above a size 16, and that really, the size I am depends on where I shop and what kind of clothing it is, let's be honest. And what I did discover is that's the same for everyone, that's not just me. But being above a size 16, it's like you are limited to what you can buy, and you're basically told, A, you don't fit in, but B, that you can't look cute. And I'm realizing that's not true anymore. Like, if I want to look sexy, I'm gonna look sexy. If I want to look cute, I'm gonna look cute. If I want to look comfortable, which is probably how I spend most of my time, then I'm gonna look comfortable. I remember as a kid walking around these shops, and all I would see is trousers with elastic in, and I remember feeling so ashamed that my school trousers had like elastic in the side of the waist, because that was all that could fit me. You know what? I'm pretty happy if my trousers have elastic in now, because comfort is life. And it just amazes me that these little things that we absorb as kids and as teenagers, and we are so ashamed and feel so guilty of them, and we don't want our friends to see the labels inside our clothes, and we cut them out, right? Other people do this. I used to cut the size labels out of my clothing, and if it was a shop where, especially if it was a shop which was like for size 16 plus, I would cut the labels out, because when you do gym class and you hang your clothes up, like, you don't want anyone to see that clothing label, right? It's such bullshit. It's such bullshit. And you know, there are amazing brands out there doing such amazing things for women of all sizes, and in particular women who are a size 16 plus, like bigger than a size 16. And that just fills my heart with joy, because I spent so much of my life feeling like I had to wear black, and that I couldn't wear fucking horizontal stripes, and that I wasn't allowed to wear color, and that you weren't allowed to wear anything sexy because nobody wants to see your body. And it's just not true. And I'm not willing to put myself in this box and label myself and remove myself from my peers and my colleagues who are doing the same thing as me. I'm just wearing a different dress size to them, because my dress size does not affect my ability to be a good coach, to be the best mother I can be, to be, you know, in a loving relationship. It doesn't affect my ability to show up and be a friend and help other women. In fact, what I do on a daily basis and the impact I make, that is what dictates those things. Not the size in my jeans, the size of my shirt. Like, those things do not have any relevance to how much of a coach I am, how much of a good coach I am. And I cannot continue to label myself as plus size and then be offended when someone questions me as a coach based on my size, because I'm giving them permission to do it. So no more. I will no longer be labeling myself as a plus size person, plus size coach. I am just me. I am a human. I am a coach. I'm just, you know, I'm living life and I'm doing the things I love, and yeah, that's the way I see it. And I don't ever want to be in that position that Ashley Graham was in, where someone asks me, so what do you do for a living? And I tell them that I am a fat loss and lifestyle coach, and they look at me like this, and I have to say, oh, I'm a plus size fat loss and lifestyle coach. Because putting those two words in front of it doesn't change my job in the slightest. So I will see you next week for a very exciting interview with a coach and friend. She has so much to share with you guys, and I'm so excited for you to watch it. See you next week.